Welcome to the CIO's New Normal. My name is Mike Jones. I'm the general manager for Do It Lean, a small boutique services firm that helps organizations maximize their investment with OutSystems low-code platform. Joining me today is Mike Hughes. Mike, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure, Mike. Thanks for having me on. Two mics, two for Tuesday on a Tuesday. So can't do better than that. Mike Hughes, product marketing at OutSystems. But in my defense, most of my career has not been in marketing. So only relatively recently that I've kind of gone to the dark side. But 5 years at OutSystems, really enjoying the space, which has gotten really exciting lately. And let me tee up today then. So let me put this out there for you, Mike. Post-COVID, right there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe it's not a train, maybe it's daylight. Maybe CIOs and their teams are actually going to get a chance to slow down a bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're out of your mind. Everything I'm seeing is that during this COVID and period of lockdown, there's been a huge amount of change, which has necessitated a ton of new technologies, from simple things like Zoom that we're using today to complex business applications, which are engaging the clients who are now everyone's working remote and doing different stuff. So I actually think the successful organizations are actually going to accelerate as we come out of this COVID nightmare, if you will, and address more and more change. It's really going to be mandated by their business. However, the challenge I see is that I don't expect, certainly not my customers, they really aren't going to get more people, more budget, and actually more time to build these new solutions.
Yeah,
something's got to give.
Doesn't seem fair, right? I mean, I think this is the new normal, right?
Yeah.
More to do, less time, less budget. I would make the statement that modern app platforms like OutSystems, they offer a way forward. I would kind of just put that out there.
Well, I agree. Obviously, this is what we do for a living. But these modern app platforms, quite frankly, I think are found to be concerning by a lot of folks, and there's skepticism, right? And I think a lot of the skepticism goes back to some history, right? The old days of computer-aided software engineering tools and then RAD tools, and quite frankly, they limited things like user experience. The ability for a delivery team to be highly flexible. Lots of times the apps didn't scale very well that came out of these products. And it really limited a development team's ability to build solutions that were differentiating. So there's a lot of concern and skepticism around these modern app platforms, I think.
Yeah, no, I get it. We'll hit up the elephant in the room right away. I agree. I've seen that too. As we've spoken to customers, I actually my second job in the US, which is where I'm from, by the way, was working for James Martin and Company, and they had CoolGen, IEF. People remember back that 30 years ago now, right? But that was a case tool, right? People still associate kind of model-driven platforms, right, with that kind of period of time. But they've come a long way. Tackling some of the key concerns, user experience, right? It's critical that you can control every single pixel on the screen, right? We've put a lot into the product to make sure that that's possible. Flexibility, right? Avoiding running into a wall. We hear this a lot with kind of the no-code, low-code space, right? We're really much more than that, right? People finding out that a feature isn't there, right? And now you can't do what you wanted to do in the first place. So you have to compromise. We've gone to great efforts to make sure there is no wall, right? That you can, if you need to, you can bring in your own code, but the richness of our language, right, makes sure that you can pretty much build anything you want. Limits on scalability, right? The first platforms weren't really robust. We have customers running with millions of users, right, in industries that are highly regulated, right? So these platforms now have kind of proven themselves from a scalability point of view. When it comes to differentiation, right, I would suggest that's one of the key reasons to go with a platform like OutSystems, right? If your alternatives, let's buy it, right? COTS, let's get something and bring it in and configure it, then just like everybody else, right? There's absolutely no differentiation at all. So these platforms have changed. It's a different situation now.
Well, I completely agree. And to summarize, when I look at what a lot of Do It Lean's customers are doing, they're leveraging OutSystems as part of what I call their platform strategy. So they're really shifting the way they deliver software for their business from sort of the old days of everything is hand built, even the tools, right? So what I mean here is we're no longer going to worry about cobbling together the build automation tool with the code factory and worrying about automating our continuous integration and all that stuff, because these modern platforms do all of this for me out of the box, seamlessly integrated from day one. So it's this notion of a platform mindset, which obviously goes beyond just the platform that you're using to build in. It also includes other things. So I've had a lot of my customers talk about how OutSystems is part of their platform, where their ERP system is part of it, their single sign-on technology is part of their platform because security is important. They have some sort of integration technology that lets them glue the legacy package into any custom dev they're doing. And together, they're sort of really narrowing the number of things that they manage and worry about and consider that their platform. So platform strategy, I think, is central to a lot of this change and simplification of being able to deliver software much faster than ever before.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So I'm sure we have folks on that perhaps are not familiar with OutSystems, so I'm going to take a few minutes just to kind of talk about what we are. So we're a modern application platform for building software that makes a difference, right? That's an important point, right? There are hundreds now of kind of at the low end of these platform, at the scale of these types of platforms, right? The no-code, the low-code space, right? You've got hundreds of vendors now, right? Solving small problems. We're all about building software that makes a difference. If you look at the different parts of our platform, we are full stack. So what does that mean? It means you can build any type of application from the ground up. Everything that's needed from the front end to the back end, that's included in the platform, right? You don't need a platform for your front end, a platform for your back end, right? It's all in one. Creation is done in a visual development environment where you assemble layers of your application from sets of building blocks, right? Front end, back end, process orchestration, integration, data, everything you need to create complex enterprise applications is done visually in our platform. Our platform also caters to different skill sets. Developers, they come in different shapes and sizes, helps you extend the reach beyond IT in some situations, right? Less experienced developers are able to be more effective, but the same goes for full stack developers. The experienced seasoned guys and gals, I should say, can go much faster, avoiding many of the mundane tasks that often take up a lot of the time, right? It's time to do maintenance screens, right? Oh, great, 50 maintenance screens. 4 weeks later, right, you finish with those, right? So being able to automate all of that is key to the platform. And the visual approach is the same for every type of application you build. Integration is always important, right? Within any organization, it's important to be able to fit with the existing IT complexity. So with OutSystems, it's very simple to integrate and extend. You've got everything you need to create and deploy applications that integrate with existing systems or external services, right? These applications don't live in a vacuum. You can connect out of the box to pretty much any type of enterprise database, your Oracles, your SQL servers, DB2 running AS400, right? Any type of database, any web service, right? We see this a lot where, you need to integrate with REST or SOAP. The platform takes care of a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And if you need to extend the platform with custom code, you can. I talked about the flexibility earlier, right? You can bring in your own code, whether it's C# or JavaScript, what have you. So developers basically are always in control of what they create. There's an open source community code repository called OutSystems Forge. You'll find code modules there, connectors, UI components. All of this helps speed up app delivery time. I think over 2,500 connectors there now, and I think they surpassed the 1 million downloads at the beginning of the year as well. You can use pre-built connectors to enterprise platforms, SAP, Salesforce, NetSuite, right? You name it. You can also incorporate new tech, right? AI, machine learning, whether it's Azure, AWS, and you don't need to understand all the technical details to be able to do that. Another key part of our platform is its full lifecycle. So we provide a full DevOps solution right out of the box. Right, supports continuous delivery, continuous integration of applications. We support the entire development lifecycle. You can create, debug applications visually, test them directly on a mobile device, in the browser, deploy them across environments, capture feedback, right? All sorts of things that are necessary, right, as part of deploying applications. If you already have a DevOps practice, you can actually integrate into that as well through various APIs. We talk about the flexibility of the user interface, right? The experience is key, right? And you can create experiences with OutSystems for any form factor, web, mobile, some things you may not be thinking of yet, right? Chatbots, seeing a lot more of that. Integration with virtual assistants. Siri and Alexa, one of our customers, was showcasing, right, how they can check on the status of some of their internal systems, right, through an Alexa interface, which is pretty cool. So think about your digital experiences reaching any and all touch points. We make sure the user experience is great, looks good, all right, regardless of the design skills of the developer. And we do this by providing, a rich UI kit where the experience looks great across any platform. That's very difficult to do, right, as a designer. You get packaged themes, templates, patterns, right? You can use them to create interfaces or adapt them, right, to suit your own brand. And lastly, this is a platform. It's a full application platform, not just a series of things cobbled together. The applications you build are architected for scale and performance out of the box. I think at last count, we have close to 300 automatic security checks built into the platform, right, across the stack and the apps you build. Apps are highly scalable. We have customers with millions of end users, I mentioned, hitting the platform, and we offer deployment flexibility. So most of our customers use our cloud, but they equally, can use their own public, private clouds, or even on premises if they want to. So that's, for those not familiar with OutSystems, that's kind of the whirlwind tour of our platform.
So he crammed five days of technical training into 5 minutes.
Everything you need to know, everything you need, you should be able to build an application now. There's no excuse.
So if you guys haven't figured out, Mike and I know each other, and I would go, yeah, blah, blah, blah. What I really want to do with the audience today, because we only have a few more minutes left, is let's look at how a platform like OutSystems or OutSystems itself can really help facilitate some of the challenges that I think we're really going to face as we come out of COVID. I mean, I don't know if everyone's going to come back to the office. We're going to probably continue to do a lot of remote working. So tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a platform that can sit in the cloud, our cloud, your cloud. I was speaking to Randstad, one of our customers, that spoke at our conference, right? And when COVID struck, they were basically able to flip a switch. They actually were using AWS cloud, right, of their own, but with a flip of a switch and through VPN configuration, basically their teams were as productive as they were pre-COVID, right? They were basically, their biggest challenge was procuring 200 laptops and sending people home, right? But in terms of being able to work, right, developer sandboxes, it's easy for teams to communicate through the platform and work together. So they really didn't miss a beat. And that's the same for kind of any of our customers as they went through this turmoil.
Well, and we're sort of a testament to that, because everything we do is typically remote, and most of our guys are offshore. So the platform truly facilitates that. And, another thing that I think is often overlooked, and I know it's true with OutSystems, and I'm sure it's true with some of the other, modern app platforms that are out there, is that you don't get as many people sort of around the problem. So in other words, the teams that you're going to use to build software using OutSystems are much smaller than what you'll see with a traditional .NET or Java type development environment. And that's really hard, I think, for a lot of organizations to get their heads around. I mean, building large mission critical, I mean, we're helping companies like Chevron, Shawcor, or CSA Group, et cetera, go through digital transformation exercises where we're building very large, complex systems, but we're doing it with teams of 4 and 5.5. 5.5 is probably the largest team we have of full-time equivalents. So they're very, very small, focused teams taking advantage of the power of the platform.
Yeah, no, the team structures really change with this type of technology, right? I mean, I touched on the DevOps capabilities earlier. That's huge too, right? For a resource that isn't really deep in the technology required to have a full DevOps solution, right? They don't need that. They can just click a button, literally, right? And it creates a build, and the build won't be broken, right? All of the dependency checking, all the stuff that we provide within the platform ensures that any developer can click that button, which streamlines the whole process, right? It makes for smaller teams, better communication, right? All of those are advantages that really drive to greater agility, right? Which is a key thing that organizations are looking for.
You're exactly right, and I think agility is an important part of the capability that I see our customers able to adopt when they start leveraging OutSystems. Just because they can build faster is great, but the reality is that not only can you build faster, you can change faster. So the ability to truly adopt an agile way of working to deliver a reasonable amount, quite frankly, for most of our customers, a lot of functionality every 2 weeks, for example, so that business stays engaged and quite frankly gets very excited about seeing the software that they need come to life in front of their eyes and participate in the process. So an agile way of working, I mean, at Do It Lean, we follow a Scrum-based approach where it's every 2 weeks, we're doing a delivery cycle, demonstrating working software, and driving projects incredibly fast. And that agility is so valuable to all of our customers. I think is going to play an important part in any organization as we are moving forward through this year 2021 and trying to build solutions to take advantage of all the change that's going to come down the pipe.
I'd love to hear about the stories. Why don't you dig into a few of those? I can never get enough of these. I'd love to hear in a bit more detail about some of the ones you mentioned.
Well, sure. I mean, CSA is a great example. These guys started small with OutSystems. They had one project in mind, and it went so successful that we're now in the process of really rewriting all of their core systems. And they have some unique processes which couldn't effectively be solved with an off-the-shelf platform. Not to say that they don't use, they have an ERP package, they use Salesforce, but the main project management solutions to manage all the work that they do and all the workflows are being built with OutSystems. So it's very powerful. So they're sort of a good medium-sized organization. Powerhouse Retail is a little bit smaller example, but these guys have been growing by acquisition, and they sort of ran their business with Excel, and I'm sure a lot of people out there can relate to that. But the reality was that as they're bringing on more and more organizations into their fold, they had to have real software that could scale with them. So we started sort of small there as well. We helped put together an application called Manpower, which is really a scheduling app that kept track of all of their, as they call them, W-2 employees and all of their contract employees. But now we've taken that to the next level where it's managing all their projects, their travel. We've been able to automate so many processes that they would have had to have, literally added lots of people to their organization to manually do it. And they haven't had to because software was able to pave the path for them. So all this has been done with OutSystems' modern app platform.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's always great to hear about success for our customers. That's great, and awesome partners that are making that happen. So great stories. So I mean, we're living the new normal, right? CIOs are going to have to find a way to help their businesses invent new ways to engage customers, employees, and their suppliers, and obviously, with skills like those that your teams provide, right? That really helps them to get that done. The organizations are actually revisiting app modernization plans, right? Legacy platforms. They've discovered that these platforms can't change quickly enough, right? That's a massive impediment, right? So looking to platforms and to partners, right, to help them move past these obstacles that have been in place.
No, we're helping so many customers. Really, I like to call it putting lipstick on the pig, but really we're putting new front ends on a lot of these legacy systems that are so entrenched and highly coupled that they can't break them up. But we can get access to bits and pieces of them and start putting new workflows and shortening end-to-end type of solutions for their business, which is very, very powerful.
Yeah, so I mean, clearly, you're a true believer. Your organization obviously is pushing hard on this. And you've seen this new normal, right? It's already a reality for many of your customers. So it's great. Yeah,
you're absolutely right, Mike. And I know that, any CIO who is willing to, drive a bit more change, because quite frankly, you can't just turn these things on. It does require some effort, but it's a lot simpler than I think a lot of people expect. But by adopting a modern app platform like OutSystems, it's going to put their companies on the path that I'm seeing a lot of my customers on, which is truly proving to bear a lot of fruit. Well, listen, thank you very much for your time today. Hopefully the folks listening found it insightful. And of course, if you guys have any questions, you feel free to go to outsystems.com or come to doitlean.com or send an email to learn more at doitlean.com, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much.